hopefully these techniques are going to work for you. It just takes a little bit of practice. And again, use the CD if you need to. If you don't need to memorize them, just let the CD guide you through them. I guarantee you'll see some results very quickly. Because at the end of the day, what we're trying to achieve, believe it or not, at the end of the day, is to get to the real you. And what we call that is authenticity. That's right, being real, being the real you. Now, why would you say that's such a big deal? Go ahead, ask me. Say, Blair, why is that a big deal? Okay, great. So since you asked, I'll tell you. The reason it's such a big deal is that, remember I said before that the number one fear people has is the fear of public humiliation, not looking good. So therefore, remember our little school incident, is trying to please people, trying to look good for people, trying to make them happy with you for whatever case, but at the sacrifice of who you are. Now, why is that important? Because who you are as you came into this world is a huge, gigantic, very capable person. And if you check the record, you find most entrepreneurs that are successful, most leaders that are successful, parents that are successful, individuals that you gravitate toward that you like the most are people that are very real. What you see is what you get. The problem is for most of us is because we've spent so much of our lives being afraid of not being liked, being afraid of being criticized or embarrassed, is what we do is we try to please everybody. What if I were here to tell you that who you are is not only good enough, but more than good enough? More than good enough to be the person you want to be, to accomplish the things you want to accomplish. Well, that's right. So part of Little Voice Mastery is as you practice these techniques is to get back to the real you. And we're going to talk about here in a few moments how to do that. But I just have you ask yourself for a minute, how many times have you said things that you really didn't mean to make other people feel nice? Like we really ought to do lunch. How about that? Or we really ought to get together next week. Why? Because you want them to like you? But what's the cost of that? Because every time you do that, you become very good at putting on the mask again and putting on the mask again until after a while, the mask doesn't come off so easy and you forget who you are. You forget your values. You are a person that has a deep set of values. Values like love, integrity, abundance, joy, these kinds of things. When you lead from that, then you become strong. Then you can create rules. Then you can create a code of honor for yourself. And then you have the self-confidence to be who you are. Look, in sales, this is a really big deal, right? When you deal with a person in sales, don't you want to deal with somebody that you can trust? Don't you want to be able to trust the person and know that what they're saying they really mean? And that what your thoughts and that your emotions and that your words and your actions are all congruent? That's being authentic. And for some people, it takes a very, very many years for them to get to that place when they're too old to do anything about it. And then they get cynical. I'm sure you've seen some of that. So the goal here is for you to get to the real you, to take your self-concept and make it as big as it's supposed to be so you can accomplish the results that you want and ultimately be the real you. So with all of that in mind, let me ask you a question. Why do we have such a tough time being real sometimes?